Yo, I hope everyone can hear me. I'm hoping the stream sounds good. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and try viewing it on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and try viewing it on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? All right, all right, all right. Looking good, looking good, looking good. I know it's a late stream, like extremely late stream, but at least this will be published tomorrow uh for people to go ahead and check it out tomorrow in the AM. So I just wanted to talk about my thoughts on my thoughts on my purchase of the MacBook Pro. I'm coming from Windows. I'm not unfamiliar with Mac or Apple. I have an iPhone. We've had Apple devices. I've had MacBooks. Um, we've had Apple. We got the Apple devices everywhere. Um, I think this is the first time I've taken mixing serious on an Apple device, though. I used to mix on a MacBook, but I never had a MacBook Pro, like the 13-inch with like base model settings or features. So with that being said, um, coming from my old rig was it's still here actually, is a first generation Threadripper, 16 cores, 3.4 gigahertz of speed. Can overclock to about 4.1. I think I was able to push it up there. What else? 1 terabyte of SSD, 4 terabytes of storage. It was a beast. Lots of connectivity via USB. It's very nice with option to expand that type of storage and speed. And 32 gigs of RAM. So a part of this was kind of like a downgrade. In my eyes, at first, this was a downgrade to getting 16 gigabytes of RAM on a computer that needs to perform some heavy duties. I think it does. It's kind of weird, but it does pretty okay so far. I've only had one or two hiccups, but that was bad plugins, or not bad plugins, but plugins that are just not compatible yet with M1, not completely compatible. So notes so far, audio units, if you got plugin companies that are making plugins, audio units are the best way to go. If you're using a DAW like I do, which is Studio One or Logic, Pro Tools AAX, some of them work, some of them don't. I really haven't really dug into Pro Tools because I'm just not ready for that headache right now. But Logic works smooth. Studio One works smooth. A couple plugins just need to be, the manufacturer just need to get them to work. Even the ones that are not, even the companies that have not officially announced that they are compatible, the audio units are compatible for the most part, or have been, minus a few. So you guys know I'm a big advocate for Plugin Alliance. I use Crispy Tuner a lot. That's one plugin that I have been using on my sessions, but I can't use it now because simply just because they haven't made that one completely Mac ready yet. But I hear it working. What's funny is the GUI doesn't, though I think it's just a GUI issue. The GUI doesn't show up, but I can hear it working in the background. So it's just a matter of getting things to work. So Auto tune as an audio unit works. Auto key, the key finder, does not work even as an audio unit. All the native plugins for Studio One in general as a native application works, which is fire. So I think it turned out to be a good thing. So far, I haven't had too many issues. Some of the newer plugins are very compatible. Shout out to Melda Productions. I've been really getting into you guys' plugins, man. A lot of people knock you because the GUI just is very different, but your plugins are really good. Some life-saving plugins, some life-changing plugins, in my opinion. Even your auto-tune, their auto-tune is free, and it works. It worked from day one when I got it. They were one of the, they just now announced that all their plugins are M1 compatible, and it is true. Every single one of them, and I have had no issue with any of their plugins. So Melda Audio, big shout outs, big kudos. And Studio Personas in general for being one of the first DAWs to be native, because it runs very smooth. I don't know if you guys can see this now, but my CPU is pretty much up there now that I've gotten OBS running. But that's just, just under 60%, spiking here and there. Matter of fact, let me show you guys on my other screen here. Pull that up. So you can see it's pretty up there. About 40% on 45% on average. And that's just being idle. So what I have going on, as you can see, I have OBS running. I've got Chrome open. I've got Studio One, the Finder, and that's pretty much it right now. And it's maintaining at I think what would be considered a pretty decent CPU threshold. So let me close Chrome, because we all know Chrome is, see how Chrome just frees up so many resources. It's incredible. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you my settings here. Here are my settings for buffer size. I got it set. I got the dropout protection set to high. Plugin nap is on, so it turns off plugins that typically don't need anything going on here. For some reason, some of these don't turn off. I don't know why these haven't turned off. I think that's just a function of the M1 architecture that hasn't been fixed yet, because I know for sure that Antares has not announced that they're fully compatible. So that can explain why the plugin nap function is not turned off. I'm gonna put this on maximum, and that should help us manage our CPU usage as we play. I can't play the audio, but I can at least show you how things are going on as far as performance. So let me back up a few. So I got Pro Q3. That was one of the ones that are already compatible. I got it on natural phase mode here, which turned out to be pretty dope. That I think that has a little bit to do with some oversampling, but as you can see, the GUI is tripping. So still some work to be done. I don't know if these are M1 compatible. I don't believe so. But nonetheless, it's an audio unit and it has been working. Here we go. I've got Melda Productions M Transient multiband, my favorite multiband unit right now. Transient designer. I've got a limiter, the basic L1 limiter from Waves that nobody uses, but I do. BX Stereo Maker, stock EQ. Oh shoot, sorry guys. I threw my doggone stream off to the side. Hold up. Whoops. My bad. But anyway, I've got the Pro EQ. So what I've learned here is that the high quality is actually oversampling. It has something to do with oversampling. Here we go, oversampling on this EQ. So this EQ does oversample for those who have doubts. So you can get a decent sound from it. Auto tune on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I've got auto tune on 9 tracks, and they are the they're not on classic mode, and they're not low latency mode, so they're going full mix mode right now, with some format adjustment also. TDSer, one of my favorite new de-essing units, is that's running at, I got that running at 2x oversampling, and I've got that on multiple tracks. I've got at least 4 or 5 of those going, and then even on the master bus. And a lot of these plugins already have oversampling built in. Let's see, auto volume. Auto volume is the alternative for Waves Vocal Writer. I find it to be much more, there's much more you can do with this one, in my opinion. Hey, what up family? What up family? Just talking about the M1 computer and shit, you know. Just wanted to talk about how it's been managing. So far I've done about 4 or 5 mixes. I've been kind of back and forth between Logic and Studio One, and so far those are just the 2. Pro Tools hasn't been very friendly, even though they claim to be M1 compatible, but that's another argument for another day. Stereo Delta, that's a Matthew Lane plugin here. Let me pull that up. Very simple spreading. I've even got splitter going on, having I got one channel being split into 2 channels and then being summed back into 1. So I got a doubler and a spreader basically for the lead vocal to feel big. CLA vocals, all the Waves ones have been working pretty well. No issues with Waves, even though I have a big issue with their their update plan. It's full of shit, but whatever. Again, stock plugins from Studio One working like a charm, and reverbs. So what's doing a lot of work right now is the Alpine desk here. This Alpine, the mix effects is really big because it's one plugin that affects every individual channel. It affects every individual channel. How do I explain it? As if it was each of them had their individual plugin. Like, it's hard to explain. It basically turns each channel into a console emulation of this. So like basically this is based off the API. Each channel is now an API. If I want to switch to SSL, I'll go to the British. Let me copy this before I just screw it up. I will go to the British one. Now every channel will have a SSL character. So that's how that works. And this does a lot of work in the background. Better Maker EQ from Plugin Alliance. That one hasn't given me issues. Plugin Alliance has not officially announced their compatibility with M1, but their audio units have been working, minus the dog. Oh shit, I did it again. Hold on, y'all. My bad. I keep doing that. Son of a biscuit. Minus like a few plugins. Black Box. The Black Box it works fine. Transient, ProQ, Neo. For some reason, I had like, even though all the other like VST3s And it did it again. Hold on, y'all. Let me fix some settings. This is tripping. I'm gonna have to figure out how to I forgot how to the RC20. The character module, the character unit. I haven't messed with it. I have not messed with it. I will have to check it out. Let's see. Let me change some settings real quick. Y'all hold on real fast. So I think what I'm doing, I'm dragging across the screen, but I'm also dragging everything else with it, and I'm screwing everything up. All right. There we go. All right. But yeah, the RC20, I hear, it's very good. A lot of beat makers use that, and I think it works well. I think it does a good job. I mean, I haven't used it. I got a lot of color boxes, like the black box and all that stuff. So it just seems to have worked out that way. Oh yeah. So far all the audio units for T-Rex are wonderful. T-Rex is always reliable in my book. Pro Q3 again. Oh, see, sometimes the GUI gets messed up. As you can see, sometimes the GUI gets messed up for some of the plugins. But I think that's just a compatible, that's just an update, a quick update. And like there, it reset itself. A lot of these are running at, oversampling. I think the a tape plugin, this automatically has oversampling built in, so I don't have to choose. This one has up to 16. I have it set to 2 right now, but during the render it's up to 4 times oversample. And so, to the point, let me go ahead and play and show you the performance monitor here, and then I'm going to actually show you the performance monitor on the DAW. And we're going to talk about how it's working here. All plugins are active. Let's go. So as you can see, barely any movement. And this is with dropout protection at maximum. I like to keep mine at maximum because I use a lot of oversampling, which takes a lot of processing power. And also I'm running at 48K. So just so you know, if you're mixing or doing anything at 48K as your sample rate, it takes more computer power. And this is going on with the 10 core, 16 gig of RAM. And as you can see, it's doing what it needs to do. So let me see here. Stealth Limiter has 4 times oversampling going on right now. Almost every single plugin has at least 2 to 4 times oversampling live in the session right now. And this thing is running like a champ, not even going over 50% sometimes. And that's very impressive. And I got this dang OBS running. I'm streaming. I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm not detecting any dropouts. Hold on, let me check the stream. No dropouts, 0 drop frames. Impressive. So it's doing what it needs to do, and I'm very impressed about it. Very impressed. I was talking mad smack a while ago, though. Not gonna lie. And this is a really small session, though. I gotta be honest with you. This is a very small session. So I didn't expect that it to take too much resources. But the fact that I'm able to have multiple plugins oversampling, the look ahead doing well, my freaking I don't usually have a bus I don't usually have a lot of plugins like that on my bus, but I wanted to kind of demonstrate, and it just happened to work out this way. Everything just sounded kind of good after the mix was said and done. But yeah, 4 times oversampling. It's just a lot of oversampling, mid-side, and some saturation. And that's just on one plugin. We're not talking about the transient designer here. That's got 2 times oversampling. These new MacBooks, man, they ain't no joke. You can do professional stuff. I may still upgrade in the future to, you know, the desktop unit, but so far ain't no need. This thing is outperforming my my Threadripper. Let me take that back. It's performing on par with the Threadripper, I would have to say. On par. I think what it does well is, you know, the renders, which is impressive. So, for example, the other day I posted a small video on Instagram or Facebook. I needed to render out some event effects. So I got like vocal lining up some vocals. I had melodyning some stuff on a clip or on an event. And I rendered those clips. And that thing told me the readout, it was going so fast that by the end of the readout, it said 45 times faster. Like it was processing 45 times faster than real time, which blew my mind because at first it didn't run like that. I'm really curious to wonder if the not oversampling, the machine learning cores, the neural engine. I'm curious to wonder if that thing actually finally learned the functions that I wanted it to do, because it didn't do that when I first started. I thought it was terrible. I was like, yo, I'm about to take this back. I should have just got the 32 gig RAM one. But so far it's doing the thing, and it's sitting here running. It's doing everything. Memory, not even barely touching it. But I also have to check. I don't think this is an accurate readout. I really have to check here. The CPU makes sense, but the memory I have to check. Let's see. Let's look at the native Apple monitor here. I don't know what to believe on. Like, Apple's actual monitor doesn't make sense. It says memory used is 12 gigabytes. I don't know. But then it's got wired memory. I gotta read up on it. It just doesn't make sense. But I don't know. I guess some of it is I get it. So it stores some, uses some, and reserves some. I think that's what it's trying to tell me here. But as you can see, it's not even actually that serious. Like, we're seeing this thing rise up here, 13, and I only have 16 gigs of RAM, but the actual meter is telling me that it's really not that serious, dude. Chill. 17%. So I think it's literally doing. I think they should change this readout of what is actually happening. But I think this breakdown right here makes sense. What it's doing. This is active. What it's actually got reserved, and then what is actually compressed and waiting to be decompressed, which is cool. And apparently it's very fast. And it's even faster on the max version of the chips for the RAM. So the Pros, 200 gigabytes per second transfer, data transfer, and the Max, well, did I say that wrong? The Pros, 200 gigabytes for data transfer for the RAM to CPU and vice. And then on the Max is 400. So it's even faster, which makes sense why the Max would just be faster, even if like specs were the same. But let's say that data transfer was doubled, it would make sense why it would just be fast. And again, I'm running all this stuff. I'm running all these things, barely going over 50%, man. And again, let's check the CPU on the Mac native, the native Mac meter here. Barely over 50%. and I'm oversampling on multiple plugins, doing all kinds of unnecessary stuff in the background. Um, that's 20. This is about to be a 30-minute video of just me talking, but I do want to demonstrate what, so like, this is what they mean when plugins might work, but they're just not compatible. Let me bring up Crispy Tuner. So you see the GUI just doesn't show up. I think, once it gets fully registered or fully whatever, that'll come up. But I do know for sure that it's working in the background. So the way I know is this track is a bus for all the vocals, and there's stereo stuff going on. Crispy Tuner sums everything to mono. So as you can see, there's no differences between left and right. So you can tell that everything's being summed to mono. Everything's just straight up the middle. Also, when I was actually listening, I could hear that some of the tuning effect happen. So there's something going on. It's just the GUI just needs to get fixed. And that's just a few. There are a few plugins like that. But overall, this thing's a monster. I'm doing video. I'm doing streaming. I'm doing music with oversampling. And it's barely breaking a sweat. It's a little hot. But I think the heat management is actually pretty impressive. So yeah, some of the vents coming out the side. It's just very warm by the screen, but then after that it kind of dissipates. So not kind of dissipates. It dissipates at a really good rate, so it can maintain, performance, which is actually pretty cool. Those fans are going, but doesn't sound like an airplane in here like some other computers would. So yeah, once again, doing well. And I got all kinds of stuff going on in the background. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in. I just wanted to run my trap for 30 minutes and connect with y'all, show y'all what I've been, my new system. I'm kind of happy. I thought I was gonna spend a lot more money. I still may upgrade in the future, but this should last me in like at least a couple years before I need to upgrade again. And even so, it might last longer than that as a mobile rig. So I might keep it instead of get rid of it. So, that being said, well, y'all, hey, Tory G, and I'm out. Thanks for tuning in.